Hi, DJ.
Hey, how are you?
Do you mean that? Or is that just habit that you're asking that?
Yeah, are you feeling better? Are you getting better? Are you mentally now still?
No,
Yeah.
no. I'm smiling, but this is what I call my pageant smile that I've had to learn over the years and especially at work
Yeah.
to slap it on my face. Um, no, I'm not okay at all. I'm on medications and I'm alive because I have children. You know,
How,
that's
let me ask you something. How do you this is something I've been curious about because I've been noticing like there are a lot of younger people in these protests and stuff, like younger than, gosh, like they look young to me, I guess, maybe because I'm an old motherfucker now, but like how do you does your are your children aware of what's going on in the world, or do you blanket them from it? And how do you talk to them about it at all? And how does that work when you have children? Because there's no way that they do they have phones?
mhm,
So if they
they
have,
do.
they know,
Yes.
and they've
Yeah,
seen pretty terrible things.
probably. So my kiddos, they get their worldview a lot from what I tell them, which is how it goes with most parents and kids, like you believe what your parents tell you. Um, but also at this point, what I'm telling them is also being backed up of what they're witnessing on their phones. So my kids are and they always have been way more mature than their age. Like they understand way deeper concepts and always have. So I can have pretty open conversations with them about geopolitics and you know racism and all kinds of things. But I do try to stand. I mean, I don't want them. I hope to God that they haven't seen like a Hellfire missile, and I'm not going to tell them that I saw one. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so they're pretty. I think they're pretty aware. They're the only kids at their entire school that don't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, and every single year we have to email the teacher because the kids say my teacher made me stand up, and so we have to email and say, oh, we are aware that our kids have the right to choose whether they stand or not. We support that, thank you very much. And then the teacher's order is like, oh, okay, as long as you're aware, that's fine. But um yeah, we're
Well, that's cool. That's cool
pretty.
that they're open to that, not completely psychotic about the situation. I think that wouldn't go over so well around here. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the schooling. I see a lot of young people. I see a lot of really young people. Being exposed to a lot of stuff, and it's that's where my mind has gotten at this point. I don't think that there's any that there's no end to this generationally. This is going to be generations and generations and generations of hatred and terrible stuff. So I wonder how kids are being radicalized, and it's a weird thing, and or if they're giving a sense of well, this is wrong, and this is the way that the old folks do it. We ain't gonna do it this way. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. It's scary. It's scary. It's scary for the future. Anyway.
So yeah, I'm on medication. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like I went to my doctor and I was like, it's time. Like I can't, I have people here that I cannot traumatize. I would like to leave, but I can't because they would be traumatized. And at this point, that's the only reason I'm holding on to. Fine, I guess that's a legitimate reason. Um,
It's totally is.
yeah, but I also feel kind of like, oh, I've manipulated myself into this situation where, yeah, I've brought people into consciousness on this earth that now, like, there's never going to be a time that I could leave and they wouldn't be traumatized. So I've kind of, forced my own hand in that sense. I didn't realize it at the time when I decided to have kids, but um, that's where I'm at. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I'm not. and hopefully I'll start feeling better. I don't know. I've lots of people at work have, I've been very open. I'm never really shy about talking about my mental health struggles or, truly how I feel about things. Because there are people at work that are like, oh, have you ever thought about going to see a counselor or talking to a therapist? And I was like, I'm open to it, but I legitimately, is there a person out there who's going to talk me through witnessing a genocide? Like
Yeah,
for real, be fucking
yeah,
for real.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what?
yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm
Yeah,
open to therapy, but I don't.
I would hate to be a psychologist right now because literally this is unprecedented. Like we didn't even see this with Ukraine. You didn't see the type of like on the ground massacre, death, and it's clearly like you've got two sides here, and I think that that's what scares me. Is like you got these two sides here, and like if you want to talk about heroicism, you've got to look at the doctors that are fucking. Oh Lord, have mercy! These people are incredibly heroic. The press, the people in the press who've been. Uh, so that just as far as what I would think anyways. So it'd be hard to be a psychologist right now and be like, well,
Mhm.
you got to protect your apartheid. If you're gonna have it, you got to defend your apartheid state.
Yeah.
So
Right.
maybe find a hobby while this. You know what I mean? Like you say.
Yeah, I don't know. And I did say that to one of my coworkers. I said that I was like, who's going to talk me through, like, hold my hand, and while I witness a genocide? And she's like, well, maybe there's not going to be somebody who's going to make you feel better about that, but you can like find strategies to make it through the day. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. But I mean,
Yeah, what's going to be the answer? What's going to be the answer that unplugs me? I've been lucky. I've been able to like get my head into into some work, but also like coming off this COVID has been rather nightmarish. I got to be. This shit has a shelf life that's like not cool. Not
mhm.
like definitely my energy level of like being able like I just went and like well working on some stuff and dude, I just don't feel uh like myself. Like I feel like I'm tired. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, you were very acutely sick for a while. Like
Yeah.
that was rough on you. And this, have you had COVID before?
No.
This is your first time that you know of.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God. Um,
Late in
yeah.
the late in the game. The main thing is now that I'm just like I'm tired. Like I don't have any energy level. But I don't know when the last time I had a sore throat was. And like, dude,
Did you
that
have a
is
real bad sore throat this time?
oh, it was so gnarly. It was
Ooh.
so gnarly. It was so bad. I don't know when the last time I had one was, but this time was definitely like I tried to eat at one point. I tried to eat like a little bit of soup. The Dre had made it had some like rice in it, and there might have been like 4 grains of rice in it, and it was like I felt all 4 grains of rice just
Ooh.
slide. Just oh, it was so bad. It couldn't get it down. Oh, it was so bad. It was bad
That
cough.
sounds bad. Oh my God. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, DJ. How do you feel now? Do you still have a sore throat at all, or is it like resolved?
No, I got a little congestion and just like I'm tired.
Uh,
I'm tired. I'm just unbelievably lethargic.
it does take a long time for people to recover from it. And also like as we get older, I'm experiencing this too. Like I'm not bouncing back from illnesses like I used to either. Like it does take more time to recover.
Well, that's what I was talking about. How like COVID precautions and like people and look, and I don't want to get into the whole thing, but I'm saying Biden's response back to the COVID situation has not been good. I don't know who's saying that it's been great. It fucking have it. Like workers, people, we need a whole we need a whole thing, a whole protective layer around people who are working because you get sick at work, right? You have to take the time off. Most people don't get holiday pay, right? So if you're gonna have any time with your family or whatever, it's got to come out of your PTO. It's all you're already losing money, uh, which right now is unbearable.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you not get behind even a little bit. You're just struggling just to like anyway. And we talk about class violence, how like all of a sudden you're supposed to get right back into work right at they at the jump. You can't get well. You cannot get well.
Hmm.
And you go back and from the time that you and all your coworkers were out of work, now your workload's doubled because they've been working, and who knows what all's gone on in the weeks that you've been out. And like now your workload's doubled. So you're working twice as hard, sick. It's crazy. There's got to be some sort of some sort of protection for workers against this type of what I can only describe as class violence.
You know what
And
that protection is?
unions,
Unions. Yes, it's unions. It is. Yeah,
yeah,
because they're not the powers that be are never gonna change it because it's working. It's
yeah,
working fine for them. They just grind our bones into dust for 99 cents in profit, and that's not hyperbolic. I mean, they'll step over your burning body for
yeah,
99 cents in profit. And
sure.
they, yeah, the way that they make decisions is they weigh how much you can make for them in profit versus how much you can make for them sick versus you dead. That's the calculations that they're doing. So it is the time. It's the time for unions and labor to organize because that's where we have to fight for it, and it's going to be a deadly fight. And
We Sean Fain, Sean O'Brien,
yeah, hell yeah, I'm in love with that guy. Uh huh.
and Sarah Nelson, they're all going up to Congress to speak. It's amazing what's happened to unions. And shout out to the Valley Labor Report. Uh,
Yeah, they did their 32-hour fundraiser marathon. That was awesome. I had it playing the entire time, even when I
yeah,
was asleep. I just kept it on
yeah, I just
um,
yeah,
and put it on all the work computers too. Yeah,
nice, nice,
yeah, yeah.
nice. We just had it on and running in the background, but yeah, that was a real cool thing. Yeah, so yeah, it's great. So yeah, it's crazy right now. I think with the rise of unions and the rise of like the middle class and protections for the working class and organizing for the working class, I do think uh, that there's a lot of hope in there, and I find a lot of hope in there, and that's really been that really brightened my outlook on a lot of things. It's like, yeah, shit's fucked up right now, but like some things are moving in the right direction. And if when you start talking about unions, like it's this that type of organization, that type of labor camaraderie, it goes beyond domestic. You know what I mean? Where this goes into, you know, uh, hey, we think that this is the workers think this is wrong, and we stand up and we strike, and we're not going to send you missiles anymore. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
definitely a positive and a work towards a movement towards the right direction. Now, to say that though, people are easily manipulated. People are very easily bought. So,
Yes. I'm
well,
just like, I don't think I'm that smart, but holy shit. Like some I I can't I'm gonna malfunction. I have to stop. I'm just gonna start spiraling like so easily manipulated. And I don't know if it's because the brain is just so desperate to find a place of comfort and they'll just believe those comfortable lies. I get that. I just haven't, had that in a long time, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but I mean, there's still people trying to come at me in my DMs to explain why I'm anti-Semitic because I'm denouncing genocide. And at this point, I'm like, I have ended friendships for much less than like people trying to justify a genocide to me. By,
Yeah,
yeah, I've killed so many heroes in my brain over the past since like 2016, pretty
sure.
much. It's yeah. Um, but it's
Yeah,
very disappointing. It's very disappointing. Um,
it is.
yeah.
It is. And you know, that's just life. But even though I do fear for the younger generations, I do feel a lot of hope therein. Like I once again, this old playbook that we've been playing by, this old like you're seeing it right now where people are like, yeah, no, we're not gonna be the country that supports colonial settlerism. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not going to be we don't we've got enough on our backs right now. You know what I'm saying? And the only move towards peace is, it's not bombs. It's not bombs. Bombs are not leaving anyone. No one's getting more peaceful through war. No one's doing any better. Raytheon's doing better, but the rest of us out here are really being traumatized and radicalized, and you're turning us against each other. And it's like our leaders are failing at such a and that's the thing.
They are not failing. No, they are very successful for who they actually work for. They're,
They're failing us.
yeah,
They're failing any kind of uh progress. They're failing at being at progress and human. They're failing humanity.
failing at being human. Yeah. I was thinking about it earlier today, actually, because I was like, okay, what could it possibly be? I know money and power, clearly. That's like what every single world leader, or definitely ours, have in mind is money and power. But to what end? Like, what is it that is so valuable to them that it gives their brain the chemicals it needs for them to be able to eh, just be so flippant about human suffering? Like, what is it that is giving them so much dopamine and serotonin? Because they can't spend. I mean, is there like a chemical, a drug out there that they have access to that we've never heard of? Like, what is it that is making them continue to be these fucking monsters? Like, to what end? I
It's
don't. What is it?
well, definitely, and you have to admit that it's both Hamas and Israel hate each other. They fucking hate each other. And but there's this stuff, the whole story with, and I'm not saying that one is in the right and then one is in the wrong. I'm just saying that they equally hate each other. And instead of anyone making any type of it's so good for the war profiteers to keep that hate going. Yeah, I mean it's hate. Yeah, definitely. It's hate. They hate, and the people who hate will want to. I mean, look at Saudi Arabia, right? They there's no way in the fuck that these people are about to do anything like that. They called the whole committee the Islamic Federation or whatever, just called together, and then Iran was like, we need to cut off all oil to America. We need to do all this and all that, and they were like, no, you know what I mean? Like that's not gonna happen.
That's more what I'm talking about. It's not necessarily like Hamas and the Israeli government. I'm talking more about like our handlers, the oil execs. Like what? Because they're, in my opinion, it's the oil execs, and then like you said, like weapons. Um, they're running the show. They're running our politicians. But what is it that's so valuable to them as individuals that they are able to continue being the monsters that they are? And like,
I think it's just the sickness of capital, the sickness of capital with like never being able to have enough and being born into or like having this mentality where ownership is the only thing, like the conquest is the only thing, like you don't know anything else. You don't know any, these people don't know anything else but gaining. They like this that world makes perfect sense to them in their world. Like they're truly deeply fucking diseased. Like they're the billionaire class, uh and getting up into the multimillionaire class, these people, like, they live in a world that is so untouched, untouched by like modern or like the general public's uh, suffering or just the daily life of the normal person. They're so far away from that they don't none of it, peace doesn't make sense anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because they never feel anything violent. They never feel the violence. You're talking about class violence or just the class struggle. They don't struggle. They don't. These things aren't real to them. They have no empathy. They're sick. They're sick people. They really are. The capitalist class are sick fucking people.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, they're sociopaths. They cannot feel empathy. But I wonder, like, okay, so for me as a human, like right now, I said I'm staying alive because I have kids. But in general, the things that bring me joy in life are like connecting with other people, laughing, helping other people be comfortable, which is, I think, why I became a nurse. Like it fulfills me and it feels very good. It clearly gives me dopamine when I'm able to alleviate somebody's suffering. So those are the kind of things that like make me feel good about continuing to exist. Is there anything that makes these billionaires feel good about existing, or is it just they're just a machine that's just like you said, like the drive of conquest?
From what I can tell, it's like owning more stuff, having the numbers on the looking at the numbers in their bank account or that their company has or sometimes they get the thrill out of just squashing other people. The whole that whole competitive, it's so wild. Like you listen to have you ever watched the what is it, the smartest guys in the room? It's about Enron.
I haven't. No, huh?
How they all started as like just these nerdy math, whatever. But like by the end of it, they were like all into working out, doing blow, banging hookers, like fucking, like totally. Once that came, that totally like the competition within the Enron spaces was completely brutal. Like they had no, like they were into crushing one another and like being better than each other, and it's really psychologically uh just insane that this is the way that all these people go. I mean, Zuck and Elon Musk all of a sudden want to fight each other in a cage. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what is going on? What is it that once you become this this part in this class, in the capitalist class, and you start gaining a measure of success, I suppose, that has no, you become a feudal and warrior type uh, mentality. I don't understand. It's insane. It's insanity. Instead of wanting to be peaceful and promote peace and promote change and promote, uh, which the Enron people were all nuts from the beginning, right? And everybody who was involved in it was completely nuts from the beginning. Um, but what it does to people to enter that whole Wall Street mentality, it's bizarre. It's bizarre and it's toxic and it's awful. It's just awful.
That is, yeah, that's so weird. I saw a TikToker who was just talking about how humans are so weird. Like we are such a weird species that we can do the things that we do to each other and um yeah, kind of like what you just talked about, like start off seemingly pretty reasonable and then get molded into this fucking like roid rage monster that's
Yeah. Who
like
wants to fight in a cage against another social media person? Like what? Like what are we doing? This is and then have the public cheering you on. Yeah, I fucking fuck Elon, fuck Zuckerberg. Like
yeah.
what? Like this is madness. This is not normal behavior. This is not. This isn't good. This isn't. I mean, it's beyond. Well, I don't know what normal behavior is.
I was just gonna say what is normal behavior, but actually I think we know what it is. It would be to live in communities and care for each other and you know
Right?
yeah,
Right?
that's what our brains are meant to do, but modern society requires of us, it requires our brains to take in so much stimuli that they're just not equipped or evolved to be able to handle. So we're all getting like zoocosis, like the animals do in the zoos and they go crazy, but we're getting that too as a species.
Oh yeah, definitely looking out from our screens out into the broader. It's and then for some reason, domination and competition rules this type of whatever this mentality is. Instead of solidarity and progress, it's domination and competition, and it's these two types of thinking are definitely always at battle, and it's it's like watching all this thing. You realize that violence is never it's never good, but sometimes it is necessary. I'm not
I'm
saying
waiting.
that.
I'm waiting. Like I said, I have kids. I can't go to jail or die yet, but
it'll
I am waiting.
it'll never really happen in America. Like I don't believe it'll ever really ever happen in America again. Not that we're not completely totally violent already. I mean, fuck, we are. It's so funny listening to people say, "Oh, the terror threat is raising in America." Like,
We
really?
are
Like us? Who's gonna terrorize us more than we do?
right.
What are they gonna do? They're gonna shoot up a school. They're gonna go like shoot up a. You know what I'm saying? No, we already got that under control, man. Like, ain't nobody gonna out. Look at what our own Congress does to us on a daily basis. This is, look at what this fucking fascist Speaker of the House for the Republican Party. Like, look at like, dude, nobody's gonna terrorize us more than we fucking terrorize us. Good luck. Good luck, Middle
We
East.
wrote the playbook.
Yeah, we totally did. Dude, we totally did. We absolutely did. It's so funny. It's so funny to think that there's anybody who could out terrorize Americans.
Yeah.
Really worse.
Yeah.
Um,
You were talking about like solidarity versus dominating. And that is something, circling back to talking about the younger generation that I see. And it is one thing that gives me hope is that the younger generation can see through bullshit. I mean, like a surgeon, like they can see through it. And I think that they have a much stronger sense of solidarity. Um, and and part of that maybe like I am known for hating on the boomers for sure, but I think part of that is that they just see like the insane like childish behavior of boomers and they're like we're not going to be like that. I mean
yeah,
at least that can be said for a lot of the boomer generation that they're just so insane that the younger generation can see without a doubt that they do not want to end up like that.
I
um
what's good for them is that they can see like the bull. the bullshit on like the far right side, but they can also see the bullshit on like the left and like the Democrats. Like they can really they can really see like my own generation. Also, I would have to say our own generation is probably pretty fucked too, uh, on one side or the other. Like because as far as I'm concerned, like the majority of Democrats are just as like blind,
I
and
mean, the people or the politicians?
the politicians.
No, yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe the people too. I mean, a lot of people have been trying to argue me like why 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 Biden is like a good president, and that's
What?
yeah, yeah,
Who is trying to argue with you about that? Oh,
people.
oh my God.
But
Okay.
like,
That was
and
that was an actual laugh. Like I didn't have to fake that laugh. That was an actual legitimate guffaw at that. Oh my
I mean, at
word.
the end of the argument, it's always like he's better than Trump, and it's like that's not good enough for me anymore. Like
Yeah.
that's not good enough for me. Like I get it, get him in 2024 if you got to, because like obviously nobody wants Trump because not that I believe that Trump would even become president. Like if people don't think that like elections get stolen in America, even presidential elections. I'm not saying that the 2020 election was, but I'm saying what about Al Gore and but what about 2016? Like, dude, there have certainly has been fuckery in elections. And I don't believe that BlackRock or Raytheon or whoever the fuck it is that actually run this thing, because I don't believe people do. I don't believe people's will change anything. I believe that it's corporations. And I don't think that they want the loose cannon in there. You know what I mean? Not that I think that even without a hard leftist's vote that like Trump could win anyways. I just don't think it's possible. Um, but still, being better than Trump is not anything to be proud of. It's not. It's like that's the lowest common denominator, man. You know what I mean? Like that's absolutely nothing to be like waving a flag about, dude. Like it's like I do appreciate what he's done for unions and his support for unions. Of course, everybody does. But like he didn't do any of that. Sean Fain did that.
But
Sarah,
yeah, Biden, no, don't give Biden any credit for what's
yeah, I
happening with
give him any
unions.
credit for
No.
being like, yeah, this team's winning, so I'm gonna side with this team. I appreciate that he didn't do anything to like what Trump would obviously do, which is like try to throw shit in the game, which he did try to do. You know what I'm saying? Try to uh you gotta appreciate that. But like again, doing the least that you could possibly do is not the status quo is not good. So like going back to that whole thing, it's like my argument isn't necessarily for or against Biden. I think he's definitely going to be the president. I don't think that there's any way that's a socialist or a hard leftist like Cornel West or anyone has a chance just in America. I just don't think that we're ready for that. But we could be, and I think that that's the way we need to go. As someone who's going to admit that like we don't need to be sending fucking money to apartheid states and shit. We need to start investing into our own people. It shouldn't be the first question. Another country shouldn't be, regardless of the legitimacy of what they've been doing or anything else. Another country shouldn't be getting billions of our tax money when we're literally down here fucking just barely scraping to survive, and we have the problems that we have with houselessness and with like that. This shouldn't be. It should not exist.
Mhm.
Physician, heal thyself is what I say. And
But well, that's because you care about people. So you're talking about, yeah, this shouldn't be happening here because you care about your fellow citizen or just fellow human being. But that's not who our politicians care about. We know that. We know this. Yeah.
they care about blaming other people. Oh, China and everything, or Mexico in the border, or whatever. They And we're still hearing these same arguments, you know what I mean? And it's crazy. It's madness. We need people who are going to step away from corporate interests and corporate sponsorships and say, here are the problems, and here are we going to address the problems. Because I promise you, ain't nobody who's out there on the fucking street, fucking addicted to drugs, not being able to help themselves. That it's not that they don't want help. It's like the help that's available to them is either a trap, you know, and very much like a situation like with like anybody who's been in a drug rehab or anything like that. When you go through these like Christian, where it's transactional, and these
Mhm.
Christians run these like uh, drug courts and stuff like that. They are insane. Like how they ended up being able to. These people are insane, and they don't. There's no help there.
Mhm.
So like in our prisons, so there's so much stuff that needs to be done here. Worrying about making sure our top priority is giving, what money for fuel or whatever. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm sure our relations with Saudi Arabia are going to remain great regardless. So, like, why are we funding these other countries for or the tech? Oh God, the stuff that's going on in Congo, terrible. How can
Mhm.
we invest money in that? If we're going to invest money in that, we need to invest helping the situation. There's no reason why we should be doing it. If we're going to pull minerals from the earth, which we probably shouldn't be fucking doing anyways, you know what I mean? But if we're going to do that, there's a humane way to do this. If we're going to buy these products, we need to make sure that it's the most humane and best interest of the people who are there and whose land it is, you know what I mean? And that they get profit. So they're not just out there living in squalor. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It seems like there's definitely a way to do this without so much suffering. And that's the road we need to get. Anyways, that's my that's my TED talk.
Just sitting here like nodding my head. Uh-huh. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, you're right, but it's just like, oh my God, my brain is gonna just melt from being overwhelmed with everything. Um, Welcome back to Life and Death and Dirt, everybody. This is like our fifth or sixth episode. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
we're
this
talking
is
about gardening. If the world went like it's just it's like
exactly. I had such high hopes. I was so excited to do this podcast. It's supposed to be about, yeah, like regenerative gardening and community. And then I was going to tell you about what the dying process looks like since I've seen it so many times. And then now there's just fucking a genocide on TikTok and all these genocides happening.
yeah, like you can
Anyway,
see. Yeah.
yeah. So, you mentioned uh, how there's not actual help out there, like for, drug rehab or any kind of rehabilitation in the United States is, yeah, severely lacking. And when I've had times in my life, which very recently was one of them, where I was like, you know, I could really use, like, I think I would be a good candidate for maybe an inpatient setting to make sure I'm not going to do something that would traumatize the people that love me. But I know better. I know in my head, I know what that looks like. And what that looks like is they just keep you safe until they can medicate you to the point that you no longer want to exit the earth. Like that's literally, it's a band-aid because there's not resources available.
If you have the insurance to cover
Oh,
that.
right, right. And I'm privileged enough that I would have the insurance to do that. But also, I'm like, I know better. Nope, I know. What it means is they take my phone and they take all my items, and so that I just can't hurt myself. And then I stay there until they can get me on a medication regimen where they feel like it's safe for me to go home. That's what that would look like, unfortunately. And it's not the people that work in those facilities, it's just the system. Um,
Yeah. Which
yeah.
is which at this point in time, I don't know. Like this is totally unprecedented. This is totally like before like when Iraq war would go on, you might see some pictures, you might see a body burn, but you didn't see it like this.
Mhm.
You did not see the effects of, and the way that it's got to be affecting everyone. Like what you were saying at the beginning, how would a person help you? How would a person help you
Mhm.
other than a government official ending the,
Oh, calling ending a genocide? Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
and
calling.
and freeing, you know, it's crazy. Like there's no help to be had. People can't help you from this destructive late stage capitalism that we're going and that we're feeling on a day to day basis. There's no one that can help you from that. They can medicate you.
Mhm.
You can pick up some hobbies, but there's no reprieve, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Um,
So we turn our energy toward the labor movement. That's what I decided. Like during when the Valley Labor Report did their fundraiser, there was only a short amount of time when I really actually could like tune in and truly listen, even though I just had it on in the background the whole time. And I was able to tune in. I think it was like Max Alvarez was
yeah,
on,
it's great, right?
and that for like a moment I was like, oh, okay, yes, okay, yes, I have hope. Like this is what I can put my energy into. Because watching a genocide on fucking social media on a children's dancing app
Yeah,
is traumatizing,
yeah.
and it's understandable to feel hopeless. But then I thought, oh, I can actually, this is something I can do physically, that I can actually put my energy into, is supporting the labor movement and unions. So that's what I've decided, other than staying alive so I don't traumatize my kids and my husband. And then like putting my energy into the labor movement is something tangible that I feel like I can do. Um,
Are you a part of the union of a nurses union?
no, I'm not. So when I worked in Washington State, I was, because the whole West Coast is huge union. But then my husband was in the military, so the army just tells you, oh, you're moving here now, like you don't get a choice. So we moved to Georgia, and I worked at a hospital just per diem, and that was a non-union hospital, and I was like, oh my god, like what? You guys need a union, what's going on here? um and then after that I just always had like per diem positions. So, and then as far as like any kind of big union for the nurses, I'm not, and I'm waiting for them to put their money where their fucking mouth is, because during COVID, where was um like the nurses associations? Quiet. That's where they fucking were. So
It's a
no, I'm
crazy.
not part of a union.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I can't imagine being like a service like that, to a life saving service like that, where you don't really have you. If you go on strike, that means motherfuckers don't have help. They don't
Yeah,
have help. They don't have access to health. You know,
yeah.
like so.
That's
How do
why
you?
it's so easy to manipulate healthcare workers,
Yeah,
so easy to
yeah,
exploit them, because people don't become a healthcare worker because they think they look good in scrubs or because it's good money. But they don't. Like it's not, it's they become healthcare workers because they care about others, and it's fulfilling to them to take care of other people. So yeah, asking nurses to strike, even though deep down they know it's the right thing to do for the patients. In the meantime, the people who would be harmed or have bad medical outcomes during that strike, that hurts us like on a physical level. And so I think that's a tool that's used against healthcare workers to keep them from striking.
without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, I mean that's another thing again. And we talk about that's 100% a type of in my mind, violence. You know what I mean? That to me is corporate violence. It is uh a way to subject your employees to unfair and unreasonable conditions, and doing it basically by force, forcing you. You know what I'm saying? By force. You know, um, forcing you not to retaliate against unfair, and not just unfair to you, but unfair to your patients as well. It's got to be a double
Hmm.
sided, like a real stab in the heart. And you know, these insurance companies are real bloodless ghouls, man.
Hmm. Yeah.
Anyone who's ever had to like, and it doesn't even make any sense. Our insurance, the way that whether it be car insurance or none of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense.
They're just profit companies. That's what their produce is they produce profits. That's not, they don't provide any other service.
None. And
Yeah.
it's really weird that you could become a fucking billionaire off that. You know what I mean? Just, and that's where they all get their money from, doing nothing, off the work of other people. They collect wealth and then act like you're some sort of morally deficient if in fact you don't have wealth. But as a matter of fact, you know what I mean? It's so hard to accrue wealth without being like within the arts and extremely talented or something like that, or having a such a hard a basis, a beginning of already having that wealth there for you to support you.
Hmm.
Yeah, poor people are. It's a class war. It's a class war. No war, but class war.
It is you see this right here?
Yeah,
No war but the class war.
no
Okay.
war but the
Like,
class war.
yes. Yeah, that's the one glimmer of hope. Thank you to Max Alvarez and the Valley Labor Report for, you know, giving me something that I can hyperfixate on to try to like keep moving forward. But it has to be the labor movement. That's even the global politic, like it's gonna start with the labor movement here if we think that we're gonna make a change.
Yeah, it's got to start with it. Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it was great. I was able to listen to Kim Kelly. She was real great. And a lot of people talked about Palestine. You know,
Mhm.
uh, Sam Cedar was great. Um, there are a couple of people I was able to listen in on that just amazing. Yeah. So yeah, it starts with the working class and it moves out. But you got to unionize, you got to organize, you know, and you have to be militant about it. You have to, you know, the union is the military branch of the working class, you know. So regardless if you join a union or not, you've got to look to them to be the ones who are actually in the fight for all of us, uh, and their strategies, and because it doesn't trickle down, you know what I mean? It trickles out, and
What do you mean by that?
well, just like it doesn't trickle down from the top, it starts, you know, with the way that the change happens. You know, you have your core, you know, workers, and then you know, just say a person at a union job or whatever or whatever. You know, we make the economy work. Make the grocery store. You know, you help the person at the grocery store when these jobs are making more money and like spending more money, and thus, you know what I'm saying, causing, you know what I mean? It's just, it
Mhm.
works, it moves outward.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and when they get raises, then the standard of living, the standard of pay, the minimum wage changes, or hourly work, 32-hour work week. Obviously, that's something that I totally believe is going to happen.
Me too. Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
There's no reason to be working five days a week. Well, let's be honest, people work way more than that, but
way more.
yeah. But we don't need to.
No, no, no. And that's how wealth spreads, and that's how economies should run, and it starts with the people, man. It starts with the workers getting their fair share.
So labor movement,
Yeah,
growing your own food,
yeah.
dying.
Death.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to talk to everybody today about something about dying. Um, but it just feels kind of vulgar to talk about that when there is, like, you can see it happening on social media.
Yeah. Well, we could work. We could work to that point. We could work. We can get to that point. Maybe next week we'll talk about dying.
Yeah, we'll see how I'm doing next week
Yeah, yeah.
and how you're doing. But how are you? Like, so what are you doing? You said that one, you're just trying to recover from COVID. But you had mentioned that you got into some work or some things that were kind of helping you feel a little bit better mentally or emotionally. So what
just
is it that you're working on?
just basically, just working on securing pipes, making sure that we're going to have a lot of snow here, so that's going to be, or they're calling for a lot of snow, so that's a whole nother. It's a whole nother sign. We got to get our uh, chickens better, better, so they're not just cold all night. So there's not wind blowing through there.
Mhm.
Got to get that up, and then we are probably going to take on 9 goats. I think we've been talking
What?
about. I think we're
Oh my
getting,
God, when? 9 goats?
yeah, it
Okay,
might
so
be.
this is new. I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, so it might happen in the spring, but we're gonna have to start getting ready for it now. So we've been just looking in the barn up there and looking at different places. And with with the with the goats comes another dog too. So it's gonna be a big change, and it's gonna need a lot of fence and stuff like that. So we're just looking in on all that, seeing how that's gonna work out, and hopefully it's gonna work good.
You'll make it work.
Yeah,
You and Dre will. Well, that's exciting, I think, to have 10 goats. That's a
yeah.
lot of goats, actually. I
And
mean,
nine is a lot of
they're
goats.
pretty rambunctious, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That is a fun project to work on. And you say that they're calling for a lot of snow in your area. How was it last winter? Did you get a lot of snow or
No.
any snow?
No, and we only
Okay.
got like a few days that were like freezing and like where it was like freezing day after day.
Huh.
So, which is like when your pipes freeze and stuff. It's not really them freezing overnight or whatever. It's like when it's
Right.
instant like that. And so we're a little worried about that. So we're a little worried about also the electricity. So it's just going out actually because of the snow. Because if it does go out, this part of this mountain that we're on, we're not going to be seeing any uh
Any supports for a while?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So if it goes down, it'll be a day or two.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Um,
we're prepared, being very getting prepared.
that's probably a good idea. That sounds
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
smart idea. Yeah.
Probably everything that we didn't do, we didn't think of. We'll find out.
You'll learn it. Yeah.
It's just one of those things. So like getting back into that mind frame has really been cool because it is a constant thing here that like you've constantly got to, even if it's like your project's just like 20 or 30 minutes a day, like things have to be done constantly, constantly,
Hmm.
not just like general cleanup and cleaning out the chicken coops and turning your compost and checking on all that stuff, uh, but just a constant, every day comes with a new little surprise. So
Yeah. And when you have 10 goats, that's really going to be amplified. 10 goats and another dog. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but they'll all be out in the field. Like we're not bringing them in, or they're not going to be. They're just going to be field goats.
Uh-huh.
But it will take building a. I don't know if we're going to keep them up in the barn up there or how this is going to work, but we'll see.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got some space out there. That's exciting. And I hear that your chickens have been terrorized by a hawk. Is that
Yes.
thing still around?
Yeah. That thing comes by every once in a while.
Hmm.
We're, uh, roving dogs and hawks have been the bane of my existence throughout. they started coming around when I was sick, and then like, oh, dude, I had to get up, chase off dogs, and chase off. Man, that hawk was so big. I swear I've never seen like it was huge. It was
Hmm.
and like I guess it was too big to catch it on the first round in. Of course, where the chickens are, they're in between like two fences, so it would have to like it's got to aim weird. And they got away the first time, but then I saw it, and I saw it, you know, and that motherfucker was big. So
Yeah. Did it
uh,
try to swoop again? Did
yeah,
it come back?
it's tried a couple times actually.
Okay. I don't know if it's hawks or an eagle, because we have a bald eagle's nest that's really close to our house, and it'll circle over our house sometimes. You can tell it's kind of eyeballing what we have here. But I think it was the eagle that I've heard that the way that they hunt, they have to do this, like swoop and grab and then
Yeah,
fly off. And so if you have lots of structures that are up, then it's more difficult for them to actually take one of your animals. So we've got like trees, we've got solar panels, and um, I think that helps. But I don't know about hawks because they tend to land and perch.
yeah, that's what they do. They perch in the trees, and then they,
Yeah, like dive bomb. I don't
yeah,
know, but I think that does help when you have some more of those like 3D, like taller structures around that makes it like an
yeah. The
obstacle. Yeah.
definitely saved them. The fence did. So
All right, well, hang in there. But I mean, what's your option to try to shoot it? You probably get in trouble.
right,
Yeah.
chase them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of time before a random dog or some gets them. I mean, we just let them go.
They just
You know,
roam. Yeah.
so they have places around the yard and places that they go, but it's not. They're chickens, man.
Yeah,
Doesn't eat them. He probably will. So whatever.
it's farm life, unfortunately. That is like, yeah, you just become very aware, I guess, of the life cycle of the earth when you have animals. I'm learning this.
Yeah,
Because it does, yeah,
they die.
they
They-
die
yeah.
or they get eaten,
Hey,
like or attacked and
well, that's going to be a big thing when we bring all those goats here. Is that we have coyotes. We
mhm.
got coyotes. I mean, we got them. And you can hear them all out here, all around this coyote poop. And so, that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, coyotes, we have them too. They're usually across the street, like down in this little field that's across the street where you can hear them really well. Like they echo at night. They're little yips and howls that they do echo. Um, yeah, I don't know though what the best way is to handle coyotes. I'll go out there sometimes sometimes I'll hear my neighbor shooting at them, like to get him away if they get too close to his house. I have a conch shell, like those big seashells with the hole in it. And
Nice.
I'll go outside sometimes and try to be like, like try to scare him away. It works sometimes. But I
Air
don't
horns are real good for that. Like
what's that?
hazing, air horns are real good.
Yeah, something to make noise there just to scare them off. But then they just like eventually they'll come back and I don't know. You kind of get to a point where you hear them like, oh, there's the coyotes again. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's that. So, um, sorry everyone that I'm such a downer, but like I said, I'm medicated and I'm not trying to pretend like I'm not. Like
Yeah,
this is the
I don't
Rosie you're gonna get right now.
Hey, listen, I don't have that either. I don't have that. I don't have that thing what people have where they don't like whatever I'm feeling, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So don't even have to worry about that for
Yeah.
me.
Well, for anybody who did listen in, thanks for returning and hopefully, oh God, soon we can be a little bit more funny.
Yeah.
But I'm not making any fucking promises, okay? God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, how about this? Next week, what would you like to hear about? I can talk about the death rattle. That's a really interesting one that some people are kind of like morbidly interested in hearing about. for anybody who's heard a death rattle. I can talk about the phenomenon of if anyone out there has ever experienced being with a loved one who's dying and you know they're going to die any minute, and you sit at their bedside for hours and hours and hours, and then you finally get up and leave the room to go take a shower or go take the dog outside, and that's when your loved one dies. I could talk about that. That's a really interesting phenomenon that happens to a lot of people.
I would like to hear about that.
Yeah. Okay. Has that ever happened to you?
No, I've only been in the room with one person when they died.
Okay. Yeah.
From medical thing. I've been in rooms with people who died before.
Acutely. Right. Right.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, let's plan that we'll talk about that next episode. But again, no promises, because every day brings new horrors, and I'm hanging on by a fucking thread. Okay. And DJ,
Yes.
your hair looks amazing. I'm so glad you did not let me give you a haircut when I was out there. Even though I was only going to trim the ends for you, but I'm glad that you threw that temper tantrum and told me no, and that I didn't do it.
Cut my hair and my beard almost every day.
What's that?
Dre tries to cut my hair and my beard every day. Like
Yeah.
she's like, that's like, no, we're not doing this shit's gonna be fucking crazy.
What? So okay, well, number one, Drea is a natural. She would be able to do a great job doing your hair because she's done it before, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she's a natural. But why is it that you don't want anyone to touch your hair? There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious.
Just want to keep it growing, keep it going.
Right.
That's it.
And are you afraid that if somebody cuts your hair, that means they're going to cut a lot of it off?
No.
Okay.
Don't want it cut at all. Period. None. Zero.
No?
And none.
Are you okay? Well, it looks great. I love it. Yeah. So, all right. Well, hang in there.
You hang in there.
I am.
You do it.
Yep.
And join us next week. You know what? We should also, we got some people who I think would be some cool guests that we should get on here.
They can start right now. They can have my spot for now. Yeah. Maybe that would be good.
Let's say no, we get an interview. That would be great to I don't know, break it up.
Let's do that. All right, well, stay tuned. Maybe we'll interview someone next week. Maybe I'll tell you about the death rattle.
You never know. It could be anything.
Who knows?
You're just crying, just squalling. Oh, why they fucking hate us so much?
I could do that easily at the drop of a hat. Yep. All right. Well, DJ, you take care. It was good to see you. Give my love to Drea and your 20 goats and your chickens. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, bye.